We are gathered here on Treaty 1 territory, homeland of the Anishinaabe Nation, Nehiho's Dene peoples. This is the homeland of the Nehio. It is also the homeland of the Métis Nation, and it is the home of the Inuit. And each and every one of us, we all live here together, no matter where we are from. Whether we are originated here, we were born here, no matter where our ancestors are from, and we all live here together. When we started this campaign with the first idea of homelessness, mental health, and addictions, and presenting an overall vision for our city, presenting what we believed would be a grand vision about what we can accomplish together. And the reason we started with addictions and mental health is because it is so important to the well-being of our city. For a long time, this has been ignored by many. In order to build the city we all want, we need to address one of the root causes of crime and homelessness in our city and have the courage to talk and really address addictions. There is a drug problem in Winnipeg that we must solve, and all options need to be on the table. And the city is at the forefront of this health emergency, and we should take the lead to solve it. But not only that do we, when we present our vision for the city, it is not just simply presenting little things by little things all over the place, but it is actually a grand overall vision, a holistic idea of what our city can become. We also need to look at homelessness in our city, where we expand emergency and transitional and affordable housing. If you want to say that you can't live here, then we must have some place for people to live. We cannot just simply tell people they cannot live in the bus shelters. And even though our heart of our city has bled out from the downtown core into the suburbs and now resides in the bus shelters, this does not mean we are without power. And we have the ability to support groups like End Homelessness Winnipeg to actually make a difference and make sure that Winnipeg goes into the Built for Zero group of communities. We can actually end homelessness in our city if we work together. Included in that is two veterans who are standing beside me, who have been with me for a long time. Sergeant Tim Petrash, Corporal Melvin Swan, and each and every one of us, all the veterans and serving members of the Canadian Armed Forces, know that there are 160 veterans who reside on our streets, and it is time that we honored their dignity and lifted everyone out of the back ends of parks, the alleyways, and made sure that everyone had adequate, comfortable housing and a place to call home. This is extremely important, this overall vision, because we also need to think about how we work with the police. We need to redefine our relationship with the police service in the city. For a long time, we have had the drumbeats of those in power who have continually said the only solution that we have to homelessness is to have more policing. The only solution we have to more crime is to hire more police officers. And we've discovered over decades and decades that this has not been the case. That in fact, actually, they have not been able to find a solution to these things using the police. Now, the police officers are wonderful individuals who want to see their community thrive as well. But we have some of the highest spending per capita for policing in the country. And so it's time to create a community safety fund to drive innovation in policing and to help Winnipeggers redefine their relationship with police. Related to that is also making sure that our streets are safe for everyone. So if you're at home and you need paramedic services, we need to review how we work with firemen and the paramedic services to make sure that there are more paramedics and ambulances on the street so that when you need help, that help will arrive. How to pay for all this has been a large question. Just over here to our left is a surface vacant parking lot. Then there are so many of them right across the city. 20% of our downtown core is a vacant surface parking lot, and we are going to go and make sure that those land developers and speculators actually do something of value in our community. Not just simply tear down a building, but actually build something. So we're going to tax those surface parking lots to drive the construction of affordable housing and other units of businesses in our core. And we're going to generate $65 million to address many of the issues that we've been talking about here. But we also have to have a vision. Just north of our city is the rail yards. And right around our city are all these rail lines. And so we're actually going to do for the very first time a rail relocation study to actually get a good understanding about what our city should be doing with our transportation system. Because for many years we keep talking about what we should be doing, but we don't have any numbers on the table. So for once we're actually going to get those numbers to say what it is that we're going to do. And we're going to have the courage to do this, unlike what happened at the province where they were starting the study but they canceled it. And then we can evaluate if we want light rail transit or other forms of transportation for our city. Fingers are cold. This is also related to our transportation system. We want to make sure that transit is available for everyone in the city, that it is affordable, that it is safe, that it is convenient, and it is especially clean. Not everyone can afford to ride the cars, but a public transportation system which is functioning, which is well used by citizens, is good for the environment. So we're actually going to make sure that the transit system costs $1 for every citizen to ride. We're going to drive up ridership on our buses to get cars off the streets so we can actually address potholes. Because if everyone's taking their car, that uses our streets down, that runs down our infrastructure. Now, a lot of citizens don't feel very good about our city. They're unhappy with what's going on in our city. But it's time, though, this is the 150th anniversary in 2023 for Winnipeg. And it's a chance for us to come together as a community and to celebrate who we are, to bring Indigenous peoples, newcomers, those of English origin, those of French origin, people from around the world, from every corner of Europe, to celebrate who we are as a city, to say to ourselves, look what we have accomplished, but look where we will go as well, and to be proud and to have arts and culture in our downtown core and to celebrate what it is that we're going to do. And to do all this, we're going to have to get the community working together. And that's why we need to restore trust in City Hall, making sure that we have accountability, integrity, and transparency. And we announced a host of measures designed to restore public trust in City Hall, making sure that we hold those accountable for the cost overruns at the Winnipeg Police Service headquarters, creating a strong leadership culture at City Hall, among all city staff, no matter what their level, not just among City Council and those elected officials, but even those who are on the ground, making sure that we have leadership training and succession planning and long-term thought about what we're going to develop as a city, implementing ranked ballots for mayoral elections to make sure that, all the 11 candidates, that we can actually select the person who has the greatest and largest mandate from all citizens to govern for all, and allowing council to elect the Executive Policy Committee. This is important because the council should not be controlled by one person. City council should not be a soft form of dictatorship, but it should be a system of collaboration and working together. And finally, underpinning all of these ideas is a child-friendly city policy, where we actually have our city forward-thinking and thinking about the future. For if our children are doing well, we will be doing well. And we proposed this in 2014. And imagine if we had implemented that today. So many issues that we have today among our youth happen because we do not have this forward-thinking vision for what we can accomplish together. And if we are thinking about our children, and finally today we announced some measures for the environment. We are fully supportive of the policy directions the city has taken in regards to the amended Our Winnipeg 2045 and Complete Communities 2.0, and would already continue the wonderful work of many citizens to create the Master Green Space and Natural Corridors Plan bylaws, as well as the biodiversity policy. Public space is a common good, and as such we need to think long term. In Indigenous philosophy, we talk of preparing for 7 generations. And as mayor, this ideal will govern my decisions and the decisions of the team that we will work with. Related to this is our team's platform regarding the child-friendly city policy. And that makes sure that all civic bylaws, regulations, plans, and priorities must be looked at through the eyes of children and evaluated in how well they benefit children. And as I've said, if our children are successful, we will be successful. And so we are committed to putting in place the Master Green Plan as well as a biodiversity policy with objectives. And the additional concrete work that we will undertake is Winnipeg will help fund 50% of the amount paid by homeowners up to $400 to get an energy guide evaluation completed to remove impediments to energy efficiency in the homes of Winnipeg. The city will also produce an energy map which will indicate the energy efficiency of the homes which have become evaluated. And the cost of the program, though, will not exceed $1 million. Winnipeg will work with the province and the federal government for energy efficiency incentive programs to combine them into one far less confusing one city portal, the Winnipeg Home Efficiency Program. Winnipeg will work with the province to implement building codes which exceed the national standards, following the lead from BC in its STEP code to accelerate energy efficiency gains, because that's where most of our energy is used, is in our homes, burnt off. Winnipeg will work with the province of Manitoba to focus on the reduction of the use of natural gas as one of the key ingredients of our GHG production through electric heat at the residential level. This means any new developments will include electric pumps and planning for district heating networks for all new developments in our city. Sorry, my lips are frozen. And finally, Winnipeg will also review the 2002 City Housing Development Guidelines, which are supposed to ensure that at least 8% of new developments have dedicated green space, and provide the city with 2% in cash. This means that when land developers build new infrastructure, they're supposed to have green space. But incredibly enough, there's actually a clause in there that allows the land developer to just give cash to the city and not build the green space. And that's why we have places like Amber Trails and other new developments that don't have green space in other parts of our city. We're going to remove that provision that was put in place in 2002, which was short-sighted and didn't think about the long-term future. And it is my strong and firm intention to make sure that provision will be debated at City Council and will be removed, because we do need the public commons, we do need the public good. And so, my friends, we have come to the end of this municipal campaign in 2022. I'd like to thank all of you for having listened to the over a dozen press conferences that we have completed. But what we have tried to do in this campaign is present an overall vision for our city, not one which is based on just simply little thing here and a little thing here which will appeal to people, but really trying to build a vast idea about what it is we can accomplish together. And so, my friends, tapwe aki kitwam, hai hai.